Welcome to my channel. My name is Valerio, but please call me Val. And today we're gonna review the Blue Stinger from the TV show Big Bad Beetleborg. This is a model kit released by Bandai Namco, belonging to the line SMP. And for the few of one that obviously will tell me, yeah, this is not actually the name of the show, obviously I'm aware of it. However, it has been known into the US and in Italy under that name. So we're gonna call him Blue Stinger. And I bought this model kit on Hobbylink Japan for very cheap, like $35, something like that. Nothing too expensive, and it's a really tiny box. And for the one that wouldn't know about it, this is a line from Bandai, which is quite famous for having inside candies and for being more toward the play than the modeling. What I mean by that, they're supposed to be a tiny bit more movable than the average model kit. However, we will go into it. Once you open the box, this is everything you're gonna find inside of it, and now you will see me go through all the runners, and you will see that some of these runners are already pre-painted, are some of the one by P Bandai. There are different shades of blue, one metallic, one a tiny bit lighter, and there are parts that are already pre-painted over it. You see the silver, which unfortunately is not great, while the blue I quite like it, but silver is one of the easiest color to paint yourself. You just have to pick up a Gundam marker, maybe the AX silver one, and then you will get a way better results than the one you have. And since the model kit is full of details over it, also panel liner might help pop up all the detail. But even if you're not interested, I can already tell you that the kit is pretty nice. We're gonna see it in a few minutes, so don't worry. And honestly, the build is by 90% extremely easy, so pretty easy, but the 10%, the fitting is terrible, and I mean about the shoulder pads and the tights. On that one, I don't know if I had bad luck, but I don't think so. I think most of this kit always, I mean, they are really similar one with another, and every time I do an SMP, there is some fitting problem. By fitting, I mean putting the two parts together, they don't exactly close, or there are tiny gaps, or one is bigger than the other ones. So maybe I had bad luck, but I think this is gonna be a bit of the experience. But everything else went through it really fast. You can see here there is a bag with a lot of option parts for different kind of ends. There are not too many stickers, and the sheet of the instruction sheet is pretty easy. Now it took me to build something around 45 minutes, 1 hour, and now we see the accessories out of it. There is a bit of stuff. Obviously we see the gun. The gun can be attached to the other accessories. I'm sorry if the camera is really not able to pick up the detail, but unfortunately it is really tiny, and this pre-painted. This come only one piece. This is the Stinger. I can't remember the name of the weapon. You can see pre-painted on the blue part, at least with the silver bits, and there is the Stinger on the top of it, and this can be attached to the other weapon. This is the sword. It's not really a sword, it's a knife. Anyway, still pre-painted, and honestly for the price it is, this actually came out with quite a bit of accessory from being a model kit. On model kit on average you don't see too many accessories, but as I was saying before, SMP are kind of a focus toward play. The ends are a bit rubberish, so they're made of rubber. Not that they're rubbish, they're pretty good. They are everything you might want to do iconic poses from the TV show, or just from your fantasy. Honestly, they give you so many hands that it's kind of a bit to find out where to put them. And now we got to see the model kit in front of us. And as you can see, in the moment in which the login finish, the kit, it does come out pretty good, in my opinion. Obviously, aesthetics is a personal matter, so you decide if you like it or not. But you can see the different shades of blue that pop up, the metallic blue of the darker part, and the unpainted with where it's clearer. This kit is tall 15 centimeters, will end up being exactly 6 inches. Then depends where you measure the horns on the top of the head, or just the head. And he ends up building as an action figure. No surprise about it. After all, it's been made by the same people that do the figure Rise. So they have quite a bit of experience. As I was saying, the fitting is not perfect. It's really hard to tie together the part of the tights. Everything else came out really smoothly, and it's quite enjoyable. Honestly, 45-50 minutes for $35. It is okay. It is a tiny bit more intricate than the average HG Gundam, but not by much. And I mean by average, it's just a tiny bit more expensive. So if you remember the show, you might quite like it. I'm not sure I will actually paint it, but now we're gonna see a tiny bit of how does it move. So you see the eyes are pre-painted, which I found cute. Heads gets down, heads gets up, and there is a double joints over it, one on the head, a ball peg, and one on the neck. Now arms gets up to the shoulder high. The shoulder pad, as I told you, moves, but it's not great. There is a bicep swivel. I think it's a single joint onto the elbow, but it's more than enough. There is a waist joint, upper waist crunch, an ab crunch, and the leg. So let's speak about the legs. There is a double joint onto the elbow, and it can go pretty high on one side, but laterally it cannot open by much. I don't know if I made some mistake over it, because there are some part that can be extracted a bit, so maybe it can reach a bit more, but then the figure end up dividing himself a bit too much. If it does make sense. If it doesn't, please let me know. Let's say that then you're able to see where the figure gets separate from the body with just the joint, which is not great and is not one of the most sophisticated version, but you can keep all kinds of different posing. Now we're gonna do a tiny bit of comparison with our usual suspect. So we saw with the tiny Lego dude, which is fine, with another SMP, that's Eugene, with Mighty Gain, another SMP, is exactly as tall as Mighty Gain, like to the millimeter. Here is a more active, and as the last Moderoid that we saw last week, the Mazinger Zeist. Very similar build. I think the Mazinger Zeist is a tiny bit better, but this comes pre-painted and is a tiny bit more expensive. Now for conclusion. Okay, so if you lose to love the show, this might be like a good way of getting something of it that reminds you without having to spend too much money. It's not an amazing product, but by no means is badly done. It does everything that it wants to do. It is cheap. I appreciate the pre-painted parts in this case, because the kit is so intricate that part separation would have made it an extremely complex part, and color separation would have made it an extremely hard kit to build, because you have the silver over the blue, and that would kind of get it hard. Anyway, but let's go on pro minus. Minus articulation on the leg is not much, and the shoulder pads pop up if you look them in the wrong way, and the fitting is not great, but this is like an overarching theme for the whole SMP. Now positive wide, nice sculpt, nice pre-painted parts, kind of enjoyable build for 90% out of it. A lot of accessories, and price that is not excessive. Like this is the price that is supposed to have at $35. At 50 I wouldn't touch it. Now do I recommend it? Yes, obviously. If you used to like the show, yes. If you never saw him, maybe no, there are better way to use your money. If you're interested by the design and reminds you something else, it is, because this Saban used the original TV show from Japan to make a Big Bad Beetleborgs, so you might have seen something before the TV show. And this is an SMP, and every SMP is widely different from the other ones, so they go all over the place, and some are better than the other. This one, for something, is better than some of the latest release, and from some other thing like fitting, it is a tiny bit worse. Overall, I recommend it if you like it and if you used to love the show. And bye to everybody.